If you are thinking of making a move to the Denver area, you have no doubt heard some things about the area that are just dead wrong. And if you're using some of those things to base your expectations on what it's going to be like, you're going to be sorely disappointed. So we're going to break down what those myths are and really give you the truth behind them.
And why are we qualified to debunk these myths? Well, we've been in the Denver metropolitan area for our entire lives. We've lived here, we've loved it here, we've seen the changes, and we're really experts on what's happening in the Denver area. We work with clients constantly who are relocating here, and we hear their complaints and their surprises.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. They talk a game on YouTube about how they are working every day to help people just like you find their place, but we really do. You can look us up on Zillow, see our stats. We really work, live, play here. We are Jake and Megan Freedle. We're your full-time real estate agents, part-time tour guides to all things Denver living. And today we are excited to break down all of the myths about Colorado that might be misguiding you.
All right, myth number one, winter driving myths.
Winter driving myths are usually around what kind of things you need to have on your car to be prepared.
Chains, like everybody needs tire chains, right?
No, I'm here to say you really don't need to have chains. This is something that was really funny. I actually had some childcare that we had hired, and she was not from the US, and she was getting prepped for her first winter here, and she was telling me that she was putting her chains on her tires when we had maybe half an inch of snow. Up until this point, I was in my 30s by this point. I did not even know that that was something you could do in town. I thought that chains were something you only ever could put on your tires when you were a big trucker in the mountains on the highway to keep you safe.
That's when you need it, right?
And I think that's probably, like most natives, probably have that same thought as me, because they're not something you really genuinely need to be safe driving in the Denver suburbs or in the city.
So we don't need to keep chains in your trunk for all times. And I've never understood the point of winter tires. So like the studded snow tires, I've never had a pair. I've never needed a pair. I know so many people who have to change out their tires. We get to like September, October, you change into your snow tires and you keep them taking up space in your garage all year long. I've literally never needed those. Now I'll say, like, if you're driving, an old Camaro with a real rear wheel drive, that's not going to do well in the snow. Mm-hmm. But if you've got front wheel drive or all wheel drive, which is a wise choice, then you're going to be fine. An all wheel drive tire should do it for you all year long. That's all I've ever done is I get a decent, like mid-grade all season tire, and we're just fine. But I will say, what's not a myth is the driving, the quality of drivers in the winter. What's your experience with that?
Well, I think we just have such a mix of people here. And so people who are from out of the country, out of the state, we do have a lot of transplants here, and a lot of people who maybe are not ready for their first winter here, or even their second or third, to be honest. I think one thing is, like, when you see the snow on the roads, a lot of people have a hard time deciding if it's ice or snow. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, our dad taught us when we first started driving to test that before you're even getting onto the road. Test out your neighborhood, see if you're sliding.
You just do a little slam on the brakes before you get around anybody or anywhere dangerous.
Yeah, when you're in a controlled, safe little area to kind of make sure. There's some tips and tricks, and really just the feel of it. Like, it's a feeling you have when you're driving to kind of know what's underneath you. And if you don't have that feeling built up, you're not prepared for it. We have a lot of people here who are not sure about that feeling yet, and are maybe not driving, either over cautiously or under cautiously.
So if you're from somewhere and you know how to drive in the winter, and you're like from the Northeast, you do this all the time, maybe a good idea to actually call it and skip that first snow. If you're going to call out a day of the year because of snow, skip the first one, because that's when all the new people discover what it's like to drive on snow, and all the people who've forgotten rediscover what it's like. So that first snow of the year is when we have a ton of accidents. So it's not that it's actually that bad. It's just that we have a lot of people from all over the country who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. And, I'll say, when we're talking about the chains and when we're talking about the snow tires, we're talking about the suburbs and the city. There's, of course, caveats. Like, if you are living deep in the mountains, that is a different story. And those roads really do need different preparation than being in the city. But for the general people living in the suburbs, living in the city, that's a myth.
Even if you're not deep in the mountains, if you're just in Evergreen, for example, you're going to want to, you should be prepared to live in the mountains. There's a whole other world there. But also another thing is like we have the infrastructure in place to take care of snowy days. So we have a great snowplow system and tons of snowplows. So when we have these days, they get them out early. And honestly, sometimes I'll be looking at my streets right outside my door and be like, oh man, there's a foot of snow. But if you can just get past that and onto the main road, it's clear.
It's so true. I mean, especially if you're in an area where they are coming into your neighborhoods and plowing that, it's rare that the city is not so on top of it that you truly can't make it out within a few hours.
Right. So really not that bad.
Myth number 2, Colorado winters are brutal.
Oh man, I love this one because it really keeps all the people away. You know, we need something that makes people afraid of Colorado so that we don't just become New York. But but it's funny, I hear people even from like the Northeast where they get a lot of snow be like, oh, but Colorado winters are brutal. And I mean, like we can get a lot of snow and it sure can get cold. But typically, we're really lucky that winters are nice here because so we'll get those huge snows, we'll get the, you know, the sub-zero temperatures maybe once or twice in the winter, but then usually it's like 45 degrees and sunny the next day, you know?
Yeah, the sun makes such a huge difference too. Because like sometimes I feel like it is snowing while the sun is out, like simultaneously, hand in hand. And sometimes the snow is hitting and it's melting really fast. And even if it doesn't melt right away, it's stacking up, sure. But the next day the sun is out at 60 degrees. We've got a margarita in hand. Yeah,
and even if it's like, so the funny thing about Colorado is 40 to 45 degrees with sun in Colorado is patio weather. Because the air is so dry and because the sun is so powerful because we're 5,000 feet above sea level that, man, like, I mean, I'll be sitting on a patio in a t-shirt on a 45 degree weather day. You know, I used to work at a restaurant in another life and every time the sun came out, it's like December and it's 40 degrees and as a server, you're like, oh my God. It's a patio day. We don't have a person staff for patio, but I sure am going to be running in and outside.
Because everybody wants to soak up the sunshine and be outside because that's the beauty of Colorado.
It's really wonderful. So this myth, like, don't let it bug you. It's actually a wonderful thing. If you're from somewhere in the Midwest where, you know, it snows once and you have snow, you have that same gray, gross, dirty snow that hangs around all winter. That's not usually the case here. You know, you like might have a snow that'll last for a couple weeks, but so often the sun comes out and melts it. And so we have these nice in-between moments where everything is beautiful and nice again, and you can get outside and enjoy it. Which leads us to our next point. You have to have a south-facing driveway.
Yes, I get people all the time who are buying from out of state and they're like, my aunt told me the number one thing I need to be looking for in a home is having that south-facing driveway. And I would just say, you know, this is a personal preference thing. Now, I have had, my first home was a due north-facing driveway. I will definitely speak to your pain. It is very tough to see the opposite side of the street's snow completely melted and yours is iced in, bricked, and you're out there shoveling for so much longer. It's a bummer. I get that. I would also say I would never make a decision about my home based purely on that. Like if I found the perfect home and it did have a north-facing driveway, I don't think that would personally be the thing for me that would be like, I can't buy this house.
Now, I'm a little more opinionated on this because I am absolutely making, you know, I would say, I don't know, 20% plus of my decision-making matrix is based on the direction of my house. And it's not what you think. I actually really want a north-facing driveway because I want a south-facing backyard. And here's why. It's like, typically, if you think about a house, most of the time, most of the windows are on the back. I'm pointing to the back of my house as we're sitting here. Those are all my windows are on that side of the house. And I am somebody who really needs natural light. Like a well-lit house is another huge part of my decision-making matrix for like, do I have natural light in my home? And so having a south-facing backyard gives you a ton of light because all the windows there. And then the other thing is like, if you love a backyard, which also is a huge part of my decision-making matrix, we have a beautiful backyard. And we have this, right now we face west, unfortunately. And west is like fine, there are worse things. But if you have a south facing backyard all winter long, you get this consistent sunlight and it melts your patio. Because like when you get those nice 45-degree days, you want to be able to go out and enjoy it. And if your backyard is facing north, it could be a beautiful day, but you're not going to sit on that patio unless you want to like shovel your patio. And even then it's still in the shade and it's dark and cold. And that makes me really sad because I got to get outside in the summer. So
see, that's what I was going to say about my house that did face north is we had the most beautiful backyard all the time because, you know, it got so much sunlight. It just felt like it was really nicely oriented. I personally think something in between is nice. I think not facing exactly due north is nice because then you kind of catch some angles on a lot of different ways. You still can get some good angles in your backyard. You can still get a little bit of sun in your front yard. The way my home is currently faced, you know, it's one of those in-betweens. So our driveway does melt, but our backyard is not like dead winter all the time, like no sunlight.
Yeah, while we're on it, just like, you know, my west facing yard is, I mean, it's nice you get evening sun. I would take morning sun over evening sun just because it'll start melting things a little bit. And then the evening sun is so powerful that like in the summer, we just get rocked with the blast of the sun. You know, the evening sun is very powerful. So there's lots of problems, but yeah,
it's overall, like personal preference, right? It's, you know, is shoveling your driveway the end of the world to you? Okay, you should probably consider that. Is it worth basing your whole decision on your home on? That's up to you. Do you care more about your backyard? Do you care more about your front yard? Do you care more about the light coming through the windows? Do you want something in between? I just don't think it's you can't buy a north-facing home rule. I think it's a myth.
Yeah. I think there are a couple of resale factors involved. Like I said, the biggest one I can point to is the natural light factor. So if you have beautiful natural light coming in from all the windows in the back, that's going to help your future resale. So that's, I think, the biggest real world impact is what's actually the amount of natural light you have.
Myth number 4, Denver has really great access to the mountains.
Yeah, a lot of people think that Denver is in the mountains, which is really funny. And I'll tell you, as soon as you land on that airplane, you are going to figure out like how far you can be from the mountains and still be in Denver. Okay, DIA is like a 40-minute drive to the mountains, right? So I think a lot of people, maybe if you've just done tours of skiing, if you like flown into Vail, or if you've skied in Park City in Utah, for example, you might think like, oh, the mountains are right there. And they are, you can see them. But it can take a while, especially like to get to the ski mountains, right? Like if you want to go...
when you say DIA is 40 minutes to the mountains, you mean like to the beginning.
To the beginning.
To the very beginning, with no traffic.
Yeah, and so if you want to get to the ski hills, that's a whole different story. A lot of places like Park City, you can drive to the ski hill in like 30 minutes, right? In Denver, to get to there's a couple of small ski areas that are within about 45 minutes, like Eldora, but they're not like the places everybody's super excited about going, right? Like maybe if you're a super beginning skier, but if you want to go to Breckenridge, if you want to go to Vail, if you want to go to Beaver Creek, Copper Mountain, Winter Park, all these places are, you know, Winter Park's not too bad. It's about an hour and a half from Denver if you hit good traffic. But most of those places are at least 2 hours away.
Yeah, because let's be real, most of our people are weekend warriors, and Saturday morning, ouch, we're talking about maybe doubling your drive time on a Saturday morning on a ski season.
Yeah, so that's the big thing people need to be aware of is like, if you're coming here for skiing, you got to be ready to leave really early in the morning if you want a decent drive. So like if you were going up on a Saturday, if you leave the house at 7 a.m., you're probably going to have like a 2 hour and 10 minute drive to Breckenridge. If you leave at 7:12 a.m., you could be looking at a 3 hour drive to Breckenridge.
I was just talking to a client who says they do the 5 a.m. leave time and then they sleep a little bit in the parking lot. So that's the other thing is that if you're a skier or a snowboarder, you got to recognize that there are people who are way bigger skier and snowboarders than you, and they are beating you there. And, you know, there's just a lot of like competition to get there.
Yeah. Now, like the mountains are amazing and there's tons of hiking, right? So if you're coming for the hiking and you just want to be able to get outdoors, that's not too bad. There's tons of little trails in the foothills, and the foothills are kind of the beginning of the mountains. Tons of access like along the Front Range where you can just hop in and, you know, like Highlands Ranch, we are 20 to 25 minutes away from some really nice front range hiking.
Yes.
And that'll be true in Denver too, right? Like you can get into Golden, you can get in all these places. So the hiking and things are easier to get to. Obviously, there's always more if you get back in there. But if you're looking to be half an hour from the ski run, you better be living in Silverthorne.
Yeah. And, I also just want to take a second to say, it's worth it for a lot of people. Like for me, that was worth the drive for me. And that experience, it was, to me, I was like, okay, yeah, but an hour and a half, great. That's amazing. That's phenomenal. So many people never have access to this. They have to fly in to do something like this. So it's still very, very cool. It's just so important to have your expectation in mind, because if you're imagining it being super simple, you're going to be disappointed. But if you can just imagine also having the access to getting to something so insanely cool in a couple hours, then that's a great expectation to have.
Myth number 5. Wildfires are coming to ravage your home and community.
And the answer is, well, maybe. I don't think it's as intense as a lot of people feel. Now, wildfires are a genuine issue in Colorado, and I don't want to be dismissive of people who have lost their homes, because it's a very serious and really, really sad thing. But I will say, typically, if you are in the Denver area, if you're in the Denver suburbs, if you're close to the city, if you are not really truly out in the mountains, your risk of a wildfire coming from your home is pretty low. Now, the Marshall Fire, that's something that happened just a few years back, and that was in Superior, and it was a very suburban area, and a lot of people lost their homes in that. But I would say that is more the exception than the rule. Usually, if you are closer into town, wildfire risks are just not really there. We're really seeing that be a problem if you are living super far west, and you really need to be paying attention to fire mitigation and, making sure that your land is properly prepared and mitigated and prepared for something like that coming to your home. And that is also something you need to be aware for like insurance costs.
Right. The insurance is huge. And we actually have an entire front range guide, like a wildfire guide to kind of that spells out what areas have what kind of protections in place and what kind of escape routes you have, because what you want to make sure is you have more than one escape route if you're in one of these mountain towns. So if you comment below, we will send you the guide. But yeah, the insurance is actually a big risk here. So I just want to acknowledge, we're kind of saying like, this one's a myth, but it isn't. And that's true, right?
It's dependent on where you are, really. I just, for me, I've had people who are coming and they're buying a house in Lone Tree, and they've asked me about their fire risk. And I'm like, as far as we're talking about wildfires, you don't really have much.
But if you do go into the foothills a little way, even just a little ways, then your insurance is probably going to double. I've talked to folks, I have clients in Evergreen who, one gal I was talking to was like, hey, what's your insurance? Just wanted to check in because a lot of providers have been leaving over the last couple of years. And she told me $8,000 a year. And I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds really high, but maybe it's not. So I don't know, let me check in with my insurance folks. And I called one of my guys from State Farm, and he was like, oh yeah, we would quote that at $4,000 a year, except we don't write policies in Evergreen. And I was like, okay, so $8,000 then? Yeah. So it's something you gotta be careful and ready for, is like, you need, your insurance is gonna cost you more. But if you do the proper mitigation around your home, which is like clearing your home a certain amount around from all trees and brush and plants, it actually does really decrease how the odds of you losing your home in a fire. If you put rock around your home, and do things like, if you do what you're supposed to do, then your home's gonna be a lot safer, and your odds of, getting wildfire are way less.
Bonus myth number 6, you should not reach out to a Denver real estate agent until you're here, because you don't want to waste their time.
Oh, total myth. You should actually reach out right now. Send us a text message, drop a comment, and we would love to connect with you. It's actually a great idea. The more head start we have, we can help you plan and strategize and help you understand which part of town is going to be best for you. So reach out immediately. We're Jake and Megan Freedle, your full-time real estate agents, part-time tour guides to everything Southern Denver living.
And we've got more videos for you with a plethora of information, but we're most excited to hop on a phone call with you and get you right in your right exact place in Denver.
So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.